Guys, Cliff here. Sorry for the delay getting back to you guys. I want to go ahead and do a little bit closer in-depth look at this variable speed Rikon today. One of the issues I've been having is dealing with this side over here, and frankly I think I'm dealing with grinder burnout. I've been doing so many videos on these machines that I'm getting away from the core focus of what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and get this out today, take a closer look at this machine, and then we can move forward into some other stuff I got planned. Thanks for watching. So one of the primary issues I'm having is this thing is in the way and it doesn't feel safe to me when I'm trying to use it. And I'll show you what I mean. Basically, this is a larger knife, and as I'm coming across here, I get to here, and I'm actually going to hit. If I had a wheel here or something like there, my hand would hit it. Bad news, right? So I took a look here, and I guess it kind of depends on the angle, but it really doesn't. What we're looking at is having a knife on the platen. It's about 11 to 12 inches away. So any knife that is 10 to 11 inches in length, as you're sharpening it, you're going to come over to here, and as you're trying to do the tip, you're going to hit or be in collision with the anything you have over here, a sanding wheel, a buffing wheel, honing wheel, anything like that. I thought maybe I could put the wheel on inside here and then just have a small section exposed, so then you'd have the guard, the safety of the guard, and then you'd still be able to have a honing wheel that you could come back later and do this if you were to cut out part of that. That's something I'm going to have to work on over time. As it is right now for larger knives, this section over here becomes dangerous when trying to use the machine over here. Now the machine itself, if you just disregard this altogether, we can take a look and this is in the vertical upright with an angle guide. I have a pretty steep angle on there, about 17 degrees. If you were to go up to 20, that would lift you up and get you a little bit further away, but you'd still be operating over in the danger zone. So still, same thing. I'm not really happy with how that feels to me at this point. There's also the possibility of flipping it around like we did with the Wen, and then that would, you'd be working over here on this way. Anyways, this is where we're at today. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and let's actually sharpen a knife. I've got a 220 grit Trizac belt on there. So here's my thoughts on the Rikon at the moment. And possibly I'm not as excited about it because I've already had a variable speed machine. So I tried to pretend like if I never had a variable speed machine that I had built myself, how cool would this thing be? And the answer is it'd be like 9 out of 10. I'd be really excited. I don't know if you can see, it's running at a decently slow speed. It's smooth. This machine does seem to have, and each one seems to be a little different. One of my to-do projects is to work. I think I've got a final repair or a final modification, a simple one that'll allow this rattly stuff to get out of here. And so this one rattles a lot. The Wen didn't. They've got the same components. I'm not sure if it has to do with just how little pieces are constructed, but where the roll pin goes in, I'm planning to drill that out and try and put a spacer and a real nut and screw through there, and put some bushings in there so that hopefully it'll tighten all this sloppy wobble out. I think you can hear it if you listen while I've got the machine running. Other than that, it runs smooth. The wheels are true, and they have the marks on them to show that they have been trued as well. So it's got the slow speed, trued wheels. This machine's got a slight rattle, which I think I can fix, but it's great for sharpening. This thing I'm not convinced is going to work. Again, I think I'm just burnt out for the moment on belt sanders and modifications and things like that. I have a whole list of other stuff I'd like to go through, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. I just want to finish this thing up. It would be possible to mount a little box frame on this thing, flip it around like this, or bolt it to the side of a bench. You could do flat grind or slack grind, freehand, and I don't think the wheel would be as much of an issue. You could easily, because you'd be working up here and the wheel's over here. Still the potential for it, but it would be going away from you regardless. That's just the nature of this machine with the frame and everything we've got. Another thing you could do is take this shroud off and just put a little cap over this, some sort of just a little metal cover plate, and then you wouldn't have to deal with it at all. Just forget it's even there. Maybe it's not a great idea to have a buffing grinding wheel right next to your sander. Regardless, it's still, for $150, it's a variable speed sharpening. I mean, there's some things I feel like I'm trying to force it, and it's not being organic how I'm coming up with these modifications and design ideas. Sometimes they just come to me, and right now I'm not getting nothing. I think it's because I have other things I'd like to be doing after doing several videos on bearings and things like that. So one of the things, here's the list. And basically the idea is to do these in sort of an order and really get into some stuff. One of the things I've never looked at on the channel is buffing grinding wheels, the actual grinding wheel. I've got all kinds of wheels, a sharpening system, the cardboard wheel, which people have asked me to show how I made that, how to use the wheels, and the pros and cons of the wheel. Then another idea I had was for sharpening equipment, which would be like the buffers, like the grinders, and configurations, how you could have them all horizontal in a row and go bam, 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 how you could set up with more of like a Tormek extended arm where you sharpen at the end of a stick on a rod. We could look at different ways that you could set up the equipment to actually sharpen. And the thing I'm kind of most excited about is going through and doing sharpening, basic to advanced. And it's something I've shown in different videos. Here's a quick edge, here's a more refined edge. It depends if you're doing this for a high-end use or if you're doing this for a mobile sharpening service or something like that. Of course, if you're doing it as a business, you want to be able to get a quality edge as quick as possible. And you probably wouldn't spend as much time as I do on a lot of the edges. Sharpening methods could go back as far as sharpening with whetstones, which are slow but absolutely do no heat damage. The wicked edge, which is precise, slow, and does no heat damage. Belts, which can heat damage, aren't as precise. There's a trade-off between precision, cooling, and the time it takes, and somewhere in the middle I think is a sweet spot. And of course it depends on what you're sharpening as well. So different ways to sharpen, different ways to configure the machines to sharpen, and actually being able to do a really clear show and tell for people maybe that are just starting out, that this is how you sharpen an edge. This is what's happening, and to be able to use the microscope, trying to not make it too long, get clear images, clear audio, and be able just to show this is a dull edge, this is how you hold it, this is how you get a sharp edge, boom, 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 and you're done. So these are the things, all these things are on my list that I'd like to address in future videos, and I'm excited to do. I just want to get out of grinder land right now and grinder reviews. Got all the machines here. I'm gonna be using them in future videos. This one for sure I'll be using in future videos, and I think for right now you'll probably see next time I'm gonna have a little cap built for the end of this, and I'm just gonna use it. What do I think of it all in all? I think it's a great little machine, and I think this is probably the turnkey solution that I would recommend for people that want to start sharpening and use a 1x30 form factor, which I think is the perfect size for sharpening knives. Angle guide, 1x30, I think it's third horsepower motor, 2,000 RPMs, which is slower than you could normally get. I think it's going to last for a long time. Parts are readily available and cheap to keep it running. I think this thing will be a great worker, and I'm going to be using it. I'm committed to using it in future videos to show you guys how it works. I already know my other things I have work, and let's just keep working with this. I'll probably build a box for it so I can flip it down and do some things with it as well. Guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate your patience this last week. Had been under the weather, and the weather's been under us. We've had storms and rain, and it's just been kind of cruddy around here. Surprising, I know. Anyways, I'll get back to you. Thanks again.